Welcome to Season 2 of Red Sox Digest, the only show where pain, sarcasm, and false hope collide nightly, like a Masataka Yoshida ground out to second. We break down every loss, every meltdown, and the occasional win, with sarcasm, facts, and no front office spin. Subscribe today at RedSoxDigest.com, or keep wondering how a wildcard team spent an entire offseason avoiding power hitters. And now, here's the crew at Red Sox Digest.
Good evening, sports fans, and welcome to another edition of Red Sox Digest. I am your host tonight, Jim Delfino. What a day it was for your Boston Red Sox. I spent the entire trade deadline staring at my phone like a divorced father waiting for his children to text him back, refreshing, pacing, muttering, and eventually convincing myself that Craig Breslow was personally screwing with me. The Red Sox made several trades today, and apparently their strategy was simple. Collect every player who has recently visited an MRI machine. Perfect. That's exactly what this organization needed. More medical mysteries. By September, the Red Sox clubhouse is going to look less like a baseball team and more like the waiting room at Advanced Radiology. Joining me tonight is Nick Face. Nick spent the last 8 hours arguing with Red Sox fans online, which is different from every other day, only because today he had transaction notifications turned on. Nick could receive a trade alert saying Boston acquired Shohei Ohtani for a Dunkin' gift card, and within 30 seconds, he'd be fighting 17 people because no one questioned the nutritional value of a culotta. Joining me tonight is Thayer Doyle. Thayer is our educator, our fundamentals expert, and the only man who can watch the Red Sox make 4 deadline trades and calmly say, let's see how the pieces fit. Thayer, these pieces fit like IKEA furniture assembled by John Henry using a butter knife and instructions written in Swedish. Also joining me tonight is John Martinello. John watched today's transactions through his rose-colored glasses, so powerful he now believes Eli White is the second coming of Dwight Evans. John sees every Red Sox acquisition the way a parent sees their kid's macaroni picture. Look at that. That belongs on the refrigerator. John, it's 3 noodles, a glue stick, and a middle reliever. Let's get into it. Your Boston Red Sox are now 60-51, and God help me, 5 games behind the Tampa Bay Rays for first place in the American League East. They're also 4 games clear in the wild card race, winners of 5 straight, and apparently decided this afternoon was the time to turn the organization upside down and shake it out until catchers and left-handed relievers fell to the floor. The main event, the Red Sox acquired Adley Rutschman, Jake Rogers, and cash from Baltimore. Going back to the Orioles is Carlos Narvaez, Anthony Iacin, Kyson Witherspoon, Edney Azokar, and either another player or more cash. Excuse me? Did Baltimore just get Fenway Park's deed to Sitco sign in 2 weekends at John Henry's vacation house? Rutschman is a 3-time All-Star. I understand the attraction. He's a switch-hitting catcher. He's 28, and when healthy, he can be one of the best catchers in baseball. The operative words there are when healthy. That phrase is carrying more weight in Boston than Rafael Devers at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Rutschman has already dealt with ankle problem, a concussion, and now left wrist inflammation this season. He's hitting .251 with 8 home runs and 47 RBIs in 67 games, and he's controlled through only the end of next year. That's 1 more full year. That's it. The Red Sox gave up their 2 best pitching prospects, their starting catcher, and a teenage outfielder for a catcher currently on the injured list with 1 additional year of team control. People are celebrating because they recognize the name. Of course they recognize the name. That doesn't automatically mean Boston won the trade. That's like buying a used Lamborghini with a check engine light on because you remember seeing one in a music video. My problem isn't acquiring Rutschman. My problem here is the return. In a seller's market, with Boston holding pitching prospects every organization desperately wants, you had to get more certainty or more term. At minimum, Adley better arrive with a contract extension, a healthy wrist, and an Orioles crab cake recipe. The question I have for the fans is this. Are the Red Sox getting the elite Adley Rutschman, or are they paying elite player prices for the memory of him? Then we have Marcelo being traded to San Francisco for left-handed reliever Eric Miller and prospect Carlos Gutierrez. I understand why Meyer had to go. The relationship was cooked. It was burned, scraped off the bottom of a pan and thrown into the backyard for the raccoons. Meyer couldn't stay healthy. He hadn't developed into the franchise cornerstone everybody envisioned. And it felt like both sides were standing in the kitchen pretending the marriage was fine while eating dinner in a complete silence. Fine, trade him. But don't say I didn't tell you so for the last several years. I've been watching baseball for over 40 years, and never in my life has a team promoted a player while he was injured. But Marcelo Mayer was Roman Anthony's whoopee. That said, you're telling me Marcelo Meyer's final value was one left-handed reliever and a minor league outfielder. This is where I get aggravated. Last offseason, Arizona reportedly wanted a significant return for Ketel Marte, who's under control through 2030. If you're finally willing to move Mayer, package him with some of that prospect capital, and go get a legitimate impact player, get years of control. Marte is a proven middle-of-the-order bat. That's someone who transforms the lineup, not someone who improves the seventh inning. Instead, Mayer went to San Francisco, and the Red Sox brought back a reliever. Because apparently the official currency of the Boston Red Sox is now former top prospects exchanged for bullpen assistants. So I asked the fans, was Mayer's value really that low, or did Boston wait until the relationship became so toxic that every other general manager could smell the smoke? And then we have Eli White, acquired from the Atlanta Braves for Tyler Uberstein. Where does Eli White even play? Seriously, folks. The Red Sox currently have more outfielders than Logan Airport has delayed flights. Roman Anthony is hurt, sure, but he's an outfielder. Ceddanne Rafaela is an outfielder. Jarren Duran is an outfielder. Masataka Yoshida, he still exists somewhere, presumably wrapped in protective foam, but he's an outfielder. Jahmai Jones is an outfielder. So now here comes Eli White, another right-handed outfielder who runs well and plays defense. Wonderful. Maybe Boston is building an outfielder Voltron. Maybe the plan is to stack three of them on top of each other and finally create a right-handed power hitter. White is a useful depth player. I don't hate the player. I simply don't know where he fits unless Breslow plans to replace the Green Monster with a fourth outfielder. I asked the listeners, is Eli White the missing championship piece? Or did Craig Breslow accidentally leave outfielders selected on the trade machine drop-down menu? Here's my overall problem with this deadline. The Red Sox were aggressive, but aggression does not automatically mean intelligence. A drunk guy trying to fight a parking meter is aggressive. That doesn't mean he has a plan. Rutschman could absolutely help this team. Eric Miller could provide and strengthen that bullpen. Eli White could provide useful depth. But Boston traded away significant pitching capital, moved Mayer at a diminished value, and still did not add the type of controllable impact infielder or starting pitcher that would make me say, yeah, this roster is now built to win the American League. Instead, we got a star catcher with an inflamed wrist, another catcher, a reliever, two outfielders, and enough roster confusion to make Trad Chasey start riding the lineup in a dry erase marker and a bottle of bourbon. This deadline isn't a disaster, but it isn't the masterpiece people were pretending it is either. It's bold, it's risky, and it's expensive. And it feels like Craig Breslow shoved all his chips into the middle while holding a pair of eights and hoping nobody noticed his left wrist was inflamed. That's it. I'm done. We're going to change it up a little bit. Instead of going with segments, we're going to get right into it. And Nick, I'm going to start with you. I'd like to hear your reactions to the blockbuster, if you want to call it, which is the Adley Rutschman trade.
I'm happy that they made a move for a catcher. We were talking about it quite a bit in the past week. What are they going to do to upgrade that position? That was my number one want on my list. I wanted either a Hunter Goodman. I wanted, at the time, it was Langeliers for the Athletics until he got hurt. And then it turned into Adley Rutschman. And I thought that was not possible because in division, dealing with a team in the division typically means you got to give them a haul, which of course the Red Sox did. But I didn't feel it was realistic. I didn't think that the Orioles would actually move on from him. And they ended up doing that because Craig Breslow is everybody's little sucker. He will give them whatever they want. He will throw all of his cards out on the table, and whatever they want, he gives, because he has a terrible relationship and communication style amongst Major League Baseball. That is the big takeaway for me here, yet again from here today, is yes, he did make moves, but Jim, to your point as well, I feel like he unloaded everything on the table and said, here you go, we just want this done. I don't feel like there was any negotiation strategies that were developed during any of these moves. And you can even date it back to the Nationals with Curtis Mead, because I think that Conley early for Curtis Mead was ridiculous as well, too. I'm not going to get mad, though, because we could be in a 2025 situation right now where we were complaining at this point that Breslow didn't do jack shit when we only got dust in May. We didn't do that this time. I was tweeting throughout the day and then from last night about some of the things that I knew firsthand that were going on. I think the Red Sox are semi-happy with what they've got with Adley Rutschman. That was their number one on the list of what to do. But there were a lot of things that were unfinished, and I'd like to get into some of those now so people don't say, oh, he's an idiot. Why is he tweeting about all this stuff? He has no sources. He has no information. Yeah, I do. I have some inside information. There was a last-minute negotiation that was going on with the Padres and the Red Sox at the time before the deadline struck 6 o'clock. And a lot of it had to do with figuring out a terrible situation the Padres are in and a bad situation the Red Sox are in terms of a Jarren Duran and then their three ridiculous contracts being Tatis, Manny Machado, and Xander Bogaerts. The problem with the Padres is that they can't figure out what the heck they want to do because they're in that middle ground. Are they buyers? They really didn't do much at all from this deadline to really tell you that, oh, yeah, they're going for it. The Red Sox were trying to figure out if there was a way that the Padres could unload Xander Bogaerts to come back to town. I would have been all for it. I think fans would have as well. Xander's not having a very good season, and it has not been so hot for him as a Padre. We all feel like that may be the one that got away if there was no botched negotiation with the initial contract that went on. The problem that comes with it is the money. The Padres wanted the Red Sox to absorb more than the majority of the contract that was still due to Xander, and the Red Sox said, no, we'll give you Duran, we'll throw in another prospect, but screw you guys. You were the idiots that signed him for that long contract. That's on you. Why should we have to take your problems on? So I can understand that. They also checked in with the Rangers with Corey Seager, and I am not for Corey Seager. I said it on Twitter last night, and I've said it with you guys before. That would just be like installing another Trevor Story type right now. Another guy that's having an absolutely terrible season for the Rangers. A similar situation that the Padres are in where the Rangers are. The Rangers did unload Jake DeGrom, but they have the bad contracts that are out for, of course, Corey Seager, and even Nate Eovaldi's contract is not looking that hot right now. That was another name that was discussed, and again, that had to deal with money as well. Another move that there was some chatter and some steam with last night was with the Kansas City Royals with Michael Wacha. Not asking for the moon on anything like that, but there is no relationship really with the Royals. They look at Craig Breslow and laugh. There was no discussion about Bobby Witt, just so people don't say, oh, well, why didn't the Red Sox try for him? That would have been wonderful. But the Royals do not want to trade Bobby Witt, and they have held on to that very firmly. C.J. Abrams, that was another name. Could there be another move that was done with the Nationals like we just did with Curtis Mead? The Nationals believe in C.J. Abrams, and they didn't really want to part with him. It would have absolutely taken Franklin Arias to get it done, and absolutely more. But the Red Sox played their hand. They let teams know, this is what we have available. This is what we're going to do. Franklin Arias was completely off the table for anything that was going on. Same with Elly De La Cruz for the Reds. They wanted Franklin Arias as well. So by letting the rest of the league know these are the players that are there, the Red Sox even said to the Rockies, this is what we'll give you for Hunter Goodman. Take it or leave it. The bite ended up being the Orioles. And in my personal opinion, I think it was lazy on the Red Sox for just laying it all out there without letting other teams know, well, we could go on this avenue, or we could do this other sort of scenario, or we could package this thing together. I think telling the entire league, these are your guys, this is what's there, take it or leave it, is a terrible strategy. Terrible. Because I think that relationship and that communication goes back to the rest of the GMs that are in the league and says, look at this bozo over with the Red Sox. Oh, if you want Franklin Arias, you're going to need to do this. And if you want this, package this. I just think the reputation that Breslow has done across baseball is just laughable. And I think the rest of Major League Baseball knows that. So the Orioles played sucker. The Red Sox got sucked in, and they got their guy that they wanted for a lot more than probably should have been. I will tell you that. On the front of Miller for the Giants, sending Marcelo Meyer out there. Marcelo Meyer's value plummeted significantly this season. And it's really unfortunate because, as you said, Jim, Kentel Marte could have been a Red Sox this past offseason. But Breslow said no to Marcelo Meyer, a Peyton Tolley, a Conley Early type. And that's the situation that you're in here right now, is you had to part with him to get your seventh inning guy that's a decent lefty. He's having a good season, but I think the main reason that they targeted him is because of Andrew Bailey. I think the Red Sox believe that they can figure out his control and, in a way, kind of do what they did with Aroldis Chapman 2 years ago. We're trying to reinvent himself in the Andrew Bailey pitching lab to attack the zone, to figure out an adjustments that's made to give the Red Sox another solid weapon out of the bullpen. That's where I'm at with that whole move. I do not understand the move with the Braves, with Eli Rogers. I do not get it. I think that had to do with something of the Padres deal towards the end of the whole deadline, and they just ran out of time on figuring out the financials, because that's the only thing that makes sense to me. Why else are you going after this if you're dumping Duran or if you're dumping some other outfielder? It doesn't make any sense because this guy does not have any options. He's going to be in the big leagues. So that's where I'm at on that whole front. I would say overall on my end, I would give it a B. And the only reason I don't go higher is because I am a little bit, I'm not going to say I'm pessimistic. I'm just a little bit concerned on what you're going to get from Adley Rutschman. And then that has to do with the contract, because I don't want to see this play out like it did with Victor Martinez back in 2009 or 10, whenever that was, where you just let him walk and he's gone after giving up, I believe it was Justin Masterson at the time at that deadline. I don't want to see that happen again. So there better be some sort of a handshake agreement here that says, okay, we just traded for you. We want you to be a part of this team long term. There better be some sort of an agreement that's there. I don't think this deal also would have been made if the medicals were significantly poor, because I don't think the Red Sox would want to part with as many players as they did unless this guy was at least going on the rehab. Things look good to get them into the position that they are. The other thing I want to mention on this before we jump to our next person, I'm very pleased that they at least did something of significance to improve a position that needed it. I don't feel like Connor Wong and Carlos Nevarez, offensively at least, could have got you past the first round in a playoff series. I don't. I think Adley Rutschman does have at least a track record. You have not had a significant catcher on your staff since Jason Varitek retired in 2010, 11. What was that? Something like, I think it was 2010, right around there. I'm not comparing him to Jason Varitek. I'm just saying you haven't had a legitimate good catcher, both offensively, defensively, and an all-star skill set since Varitek. So my hope is that this turns into being something that's significant that can help this team moving forward. So it was a lot to unpack from where the deadline was, but it's a lot better position that you are right now, at least in my opinion, than you were yesterday. You did improve your team. How much? That's to be determined.
Oh, Nick, I know you're a Varitek fan. I never was, but we did have Saltalamacchia for a few years. We had Vasquez for quite a long time. They weren't. Vasquez wasn't really the player Varitek was, but I really don't think he was one of the best out there. It's just he was on championship teams. He had caught a lot of no hitters, and that kind of like just paved the way for him to get a lot of recognition. That's just my take. I know you gave a B or B plus. Did you say a B plus on this?
I said a B, just a solid B.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like a C minus. I don't know if that came cleared through. And the reason why I'm giving the grade I am, just for full disclosure, is because people came at me again today. Here he goes. He's negative again. What, now you want to hoard prospects? No, that's not what I want to do. If you've been following me on Twitter for the past 5 minutes, you'll know that I love trading prospects away. Dave Dombrowski is my favorite GM of all time. I think he did a better job than Theo. Theo inherited a lot of that team. Let's not be realistic here. The bottom line here is that he goes and gets star players. And I am a true believer that you should use prospect capital to go and get star players. That being said, I think that Adley Rutschman is an okay trade, but I think you gave up too much for him. Now, I know people are going to say, well, you don't know what this one's going to be, what that one's going to be. They're not a top this, top that. Well, you know what? The same thing was with the core four. How many of the core four are on the active roster? I'll wait. So that's my problem. Yeah, that's my problem with, putting all your eggs into the youth basket and selling this to the fans, because it's these imbecile fans that, come at us and other people that have followed the team for a long, long time. And they're going to come and say, oh, you're negative or this or that. No, a lot of it is because we've seen what this team has done over the past 20, 30 years or so. And so they're reverting back to a lot of those ways. They're not going to spend like they did. I mean, let's look at the before the trade deadline. You heard a lot of rumors. The Red Sox are going to crush it. They're going to do whatever it takes. They're going to take on a big contract. They've let the world know, here come the Red Sox. The Red Sox love to tell everybody how great they are, and then they don't follow through on it. Here come the Red Sox. What contract did they take on? Thayer had this from the beginning too. They're not going to take on any money, and that's not what happened here. Adley Rutschman's not making a fortune. My biggest contention with the trade and my C- grade is because, number one, I think you could have gotten more for the package you've given. Yes, I want to trade young guys. Yes, I want to get star players in here. Did they talk to Colorado on Goodman? Did that fall apart? Was it not a match? Did they try anybody else? Did they try for CJ Abrams with that package? Okay. Did they try for Francisco Lindor and Clay Holmes for that package? Did they
no
try
relationship with the Mets? That's the problem.
Well, that's very well be true, but or was it one of those things where there was one phone call? Is he available? Yeah, but what are you going to give us? We'll give you these guys. and they said yes. Was there enough looking around? You had some really good young pitchers in your minor leagues, and other teams want to acquire that. This is simply a trade of not wanting to take on any money. Where's the Fernando Tatis deal? Where's the Xander Bogaerts deal? Where's the Mike Trout deal? Where's the Bobby Witt deal? Where's the Rafael Devers deal? Where's anybody that had a lot of money attached to them in this trade in this trade sequence? No one like that moved. It was all turds. It was just turd moves. Do I think Rutschman can help? Yes. Can he stay healthy? I don't know. Maybe. If he does, he'll be a valuable asset. But if I'm the Red Sox, I want to sign him now, probably while he's on his downturn, because the reality is, like you said, Nick, we don't want another Victor Martinez situation.
No.
He's, we don't want another Adrian Beltre situation. I know he came as a free agent, but you get the idea. Somebody that, and I said this on the podcast many times, if you're going to trade for someone, give me someone who's young or has term. This guy does not have term. And I'm also worried about his health and how it's affecting his ability to be a long-term solution on this team should they give him a contract extension. Because let's not beat around the bush. We joked many times, Craig Breslow since November has signed 67,000 catchers. And then you went out and got a catcher. 2 of them. So we'll see how it plays out, but that's part of the C-. Connor Wong, Marcelo Mayer. Again, it's not Breslow's fault, so to speak, that's all he got. But again, could you have gotten more? Or is it just that you wanted a left-hand reliever and you wanted to get rid of Mayer? I know his stock is no good. Should you have just put him back in AAA next year and see what happens? Still young enough. Is Eric Miller going to really change the dynamic for this team? I'm not saying we've got Larry Anderson for Jeff Bagwell again, but I mean, I don't know. Could you have gotten more there? That's the question. And then finally, for my C-, and then I'll flip it over to Thayer. The guy from the Braves. Where is he playing? You've got so many outfielders, and you didn't move one at this deadline. You got Jahmai Jones. It's not like he looks like garbage. He's been pretty good. So what makes you need to go get this other right-handed bat? If it was in lieu of another trade like Duran, like we thought, sure, but that's not what happened. Thayer, I'll give the floor to you. How is your thoughts on this trade?
So I kind of feel like I turned dinner over to my kid. And for the longest time, I forgot to make dinner, Dad. I didn't make dinner, Dad. Sorry, Dad, I didn't make dinner. Or I burned dinner. Dinner was edible today. And it's sort of like I feel good almost. It's crazy. And it's unfortunate that this is what Breslow has sort of brought us to, but I have to commend the man for actually doing something. He was active. He was early. Now, whatever, like we talk about getting Mead and he traded early. Did he pay too much? Who knows? He set the market. He was involved in really, when you look at it, one of the bigger names that came in today. They set a standard for themselves. So this is what they needed. And, they hit half of it, which is much better than normal. He usually doesn't do anything. So I'm so it's everything is relative. I am pleasantly surprised, and I have to give Breslow credit that he didn't completely blow this up. They needed to improve at catcher, and they got an improvement at catcher. Is Rutschman going to be the best thing in the world? I don't know. It's sort of what's unfortunate, and you mentioned this before, kind of what we've always expected with trade deadlines is the teams with the money purchased the players. You have a massive expiring contract. I'll take on the contract. I'll give you a couple schmuck prospects, and away we go. I'll take that on. If you have someone who is really going to be expensive for you down the road, like kind of like the the Dodgers and Skubal. Here, I'm going to give you some players. I will pay this guy. I'll take him off your hands. The issue is the amount of risk that went into this deadline from his standpoint. And again, it's as far as the prospects, did he overpay? I don't care. Honestly, I don't care. We are the Boston Red Sox. If we need someone to fill a gap, we should be able to buy that person. Prospects be damned. We've been talking about prospects for the last 5 years, and to your point, none of them are currently on our team. Mayer, we tanked in COVID season, and we had the best draft of our life. We got Mayer. He's garbage. We got nothing for him. Again, I think it's mismanagement from the front office standpoint. We talked about this. Early in Mayer, bring you a left-handed reliever and a guy who's had 3 good months. Where if we had done that deal 4 months ago, we have Ketel Marte. So again, where we're at with this whole standpoint. But I'm happy with it. I am pleased that they did something. Have they improved their team? Yes. Are they better than they were the day before? Absolutely. Are they a contender for the American League? God help me, I think they are. I think they are one of the better teams in the American League. So now the question is, did he do enough? And that's where I hesitate by saying he didn't cook the meal properly, because we needed a shortstop. We saw that yesterday. He's been playing nicely at shortstop, but he's not a shortstop, and he's going to be exposed eventually offensively and defensively. So that's going to hurt us. We didn't improve there. Now, if you're sort of saying what's more important to us, catcher or shortstop, if you're looking at the overall makeup of our roster and our farm system, we could replace a shortstop. We have the guy back in Worcester who's a defensive player. We have Story, who has got major league experience. We don't have anyone in the catcher's ranks that were going to improve us. So I think catcher was far more important from that standpoint. Yes, we needed a reliever and a starting pitcher. We got a reliever. What's he going to be? This kind of, sort of feels like what we did in the past, where we brought in Miller and we turned him into an ace, but it took a little while. Are we going to be able to do the same thing? We needed a starting pitcher. I've been saying this for a while. Those kids are going to hit their limits, and they're going to have issues.
Thayer, can I ask you a question?
You may.
One of the contentions I have with this trade, by having Navarez going to the Baltimore Orioles and Rutschman coming here, the Red Sox have one of the best pitching staffs in baseball, both starters and relievers. Do you have any concerns about the fact that you are moving the guy who basically knows your pitching staff to the Orioles, and having a guy coming in that doesn't know your pitching staff work with this team?
No. Rutschman's a pro. From the catching standpoint, I'm not worried about him at all. I think he'll be able to figure it all out. And he's not necessarily he's dealing with guys, Suarez, Crochet if he comes back, Gray. Those are professionals. They pitch to anybody and everybody. Now, yes, Tolle and Bennett, still, they're young enough. They'll listen to anything and anything everybody says. And what have we been doing is complaining about Wong and Narvaez for the last month to 3 months. So it's not like they were Johnny Bench behind the plate. And for the most part, the way baseball runs nowadays, it's not back in the day where the catchers were running the show. I think most of the pitches, and I think most of the game is called from the bench anyway. So that's not a big deal. The last piece that I just want to talk about is sort of how, again, they mismanaged their plan. And to Nick's point, Eli White, that was a setup, and we talked about that a lot in our conversations. That was a setup for what was to come. I honestly think Duran was gone. They were trading someone. They brought in White because they needed someone who could run, that would fill the space, who's a right-handed bat. They figured they were going to trade for something. This kind of goes back to, we'll take it back to the Red Sox of yesteryear. When we made the trade when we traded Renfroe away and we brought in Jackie Bradley Jr. We brought in the left-handed hitting outfielder. We needed another right-handed hitting outfielder. And this was, at the time, Chaim Bloom. He stopped there. He didn't go on. He should have brought in, say, a Suzuki or something like that to have platooned that. But instead, we got stuck with Jackie Bradley Jr. playing most of the time in the outfield. It's just this. They have ideas, but they don't fulfill them. So overall, I'm happy with the trade deadline. I think we made improvements to ourselves. Could it have been better? Absolutely. Am I worried that who we have playing shortstop, Monasterio kind of playing for a while? Yes. I think Cheng is a better defensive player. I really would have liked to have had that shortstop, and then you move Mona to second base, and you can do a platoon there, or you can platoon a DH somewhere along those lines. But again, Breslow's running the show, and he's making his decisions. And we've talked a lot about this trade deadline is going to be the thing that makes him or breaks him. I think this is the case. He's put all of his eggs in this basket. And one other thing, this trade deadline, what sort of, I don't want to say irritates me, is it was not entirely done for the 2026 season. All of this was done for, yes, this year, but you're looking forward. Miller, they're looking at him as someone he may or may not help us this year, but they're going to try to develop him. This idea about getting Rutschman, if you can get Rutschman and then re-sign him, you sort of develop something moving forward. Even Meade is going to be a guy who's not really for this year. They were hoping he would be helpful, but they want to sort of set him up moving forward. So it's still the cost-conservative Red Sox who are looking to, not go all in. It's always something of being cost conservative for the future, as opposed to just sort of saying, hey, this is what we need. This is what I want. Let's roll. But again, it's so much better than it was the last 3 years. So, in relatively speaking, thank God.
Yeah, you're a little bit more positive than I am. I'm going to go to John. But, John, get your take on this trade. Also, too, I want to ask all you guys, but John could start off with the answer to the question at some point during his discussion. Does the fact that they didn't trade for a shortstop open a door for Arias this season?
I think it does. I think that Trevor Story, once he's healthy, has first dibs back at that position, and I think I hope not as well. But I would never say never. I mean, Craig Breslow has gone out.
I'd rather him play second if that's going to be the case.
Yeah. But yeah, Breslow's gone out and said that Worcester AAA, that is a depth department for the major league team. And we kind of saw that there was a lot of hesitancy initially to move Franklin Arias up to Worcester, and now he's there. And listen, it took him games to get adjusted to it, and the guy's tearing the cover off the baseball. He's hitting home runs. He's hitting leadoff there. He's still playing his exceptional defense. So I think it's a real possibility that he could be somebody that he's kind of just blown the Red Sox projections. And I know that he was involved in trade conversations. And it looks like that Craig Breslow and the Red Sox front office really held him to a very high standard when it came to these talks, because he's still here. Anthony Eason, on the other hand, Kyson Witherspoon, those guys are gone. And obviously, as we said after the Curtis Meade trade, the Red Sox have a plethora of pitching depth in the minor leagues, and they use that depth and that surplus to go and get a guy that fills another spot of need for this team. On the day of the Curtis Meade trade, Craig Breslow said that our goal is not to win the trade. Our goal is to make the major league team better. And when it comes to this Adley Rutschman trade, they paid a in-division premium on him, and they paid I'd assume another premium on the fact that I'd assume pretty confident that they're going to sign this extension with him. Obviously there were murmurs.
Don't they need to now?
They absolutely need to. If they don't sign this extension, the Adley Rutschman deal in itself, If he's gone after next year, it's a D, it's an F. It's a horrendous trade, but I don't think this deal gets done unless they're very confident that something's gonna get done in the near future. But yeah, you paid a massive haul. What was it? It was the number 3 or number 2, number 4, number 5, and number 14 or something like that prospects. You paid a lot for a catcher. Granted, this catcher, Adley Rutschman, is one of the best catchers in baseball.
So, John, just to interrupt you. Iacin was ranked 49 on
in the
MLB
MLB 100. Yeah.
Boston's second prospect. So just so that you have that.
Yeah. I really didn't want to get rid of Ianson. I think that he's going to be he's projecting earlier this year. He was projecting like how Peyton Tolley did last year, where he just flying through the levels of the minor leagues. And I think that he's going to be the first one up for the Orioles. And
Witherspoon's also number 4. Ozokar's number 5.
Yes. When it comes to Witherspoon, I think he didn't, kind of like how Kyle Harrison didn't really mesh with the Red Sox pitching philosophy or development. I don't think that Kyson Witherspoon did. You look at his numbers down in the minor leagues, and the strikeout stuff was there, but just batted ball data, all the stuff under the hood that the Red Sox like to look at, didn't really line up. And I don't know. I'm not educated enough to have a complete opinion on it, but it kind of seems like the same sort of thing as Kyle Harrison when it comes to Kyson Witherspoon. But again, going back to the Adley Rutschman deal, it's a switch hitting catcher. He's a phenomenal defender, one of the best in the big leagues. Jim, you asked Thayer if he's going to be able to handle adapting to a new staff. I think he will be. There's no reason to say he won't be able to. The guy, he was the number 1 overall pick. He made it up to the big leagues in a very short period of time. I think it was like 2 years, and for a catcher, that's not too long at all. He's going to be, it's a guy that you have to talk about in your game planning room when you're playing against the Red Sox now. It's a guy that you're going to be able to put into the middle of your lineup instead of slotting him down at the bottom of the lineup. It's a guy that can hit from both sides of the plate.
Where's he going to bat, John? Where's he going to bat in this lineup? What does your lineup look like?
My current lineup, is everybody healthy?
Yes, except for Story. And
he wasn't going to be in the lineup anyway.
No, well, let's just say that Anthony's not healthy either, because he's not right now.
Okay. I am going to go. We'll go Seager leading off at second base. We'll go Curtis Mead in the 2-hole. I will then go Rutschman, and then I will go to Contreras, and then after him I'll go to Wilyer, to Cedon, to probably Durbin, Duran, and then ended off with who'd I leave out? I left out somebody. Shortstop, Monasterio. Whoever's playing.
You're gonna put Cedon at the 6th hole?
Yeah. Or you know what? I'll put it wherever. I'll flop him with whoever was the 5-hitter. Because Cedon in the 5-hole this year has been unbelievable. I think he's hitting somewhere around 330 with a 950 OPS. But yeah, I deposit Adley Rutschman into the 3-hole for this team.
My lineup's definitely different than yours, I'll tell you.
Yeah,
that.
I'm just thinking off the top of my head. If I had all the names in front of me,
I'm going to write mine down.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of switch with everybody just to get their take on it. Since Nick's writing it down, Thayer, what does your lineup look like now with Rutschman here? Now, I know John mentioned about Mead, but he's not here. So what does your lineup look like tomorrow?
Tomorrow I would put, the second baseman, whoever it is, whether it's Sogard or whether it's Seager, he's playing second base. I have Cedon hit second. I have Contreras, probably Abreu hitting third, Contreras hitting fourth. I'd have Rutschman hit fifth. Then I would go probably Massa, DH and hitting sixth, Durbin hitting seventh, Then I have who else do I have there? I just have my
You got a shortstop.
then I have Duran hitting 8th, and I'd have the Monasterio hit 9th. Or I might even switch them around.
Nick, what does your lineup look like with Rutschman in it? I know he's still day to day, but what does your lineup look like?
It's a matter of if I want a Brayan or Rutschman hitting 3 or 5. I think that's the biggest thing I'm trying to go back and forth on. I personally think I'd rather see Rutschman hit 3rd and then Abreu drop to 5. I'm going Sogard, Rafaela, Rutschman, Contreras, Abreu, Durbin, then Yoshida, then Duran, then Mona.
That's my lineup.
That's your lineup? Okay.
Yeah, I'm exactly that lineup. Yeah.
And I like what I see with Durbin. Between Yoshida and Durbin's doing a hell of a job right now. Hell of a job. And Yoshida is being a passable player right now. So you have to keep him in the lineup.
Where does Durbin rank in potential Gold Glove considerations? Does anybody know?
No, he's. Let me look it up right now. But
he's got to be in the top 5, right?
For third base.
He's got to be in the top 5. He's got to be in the top 5. While you're looking that up, I'm going to start with some comments, just so that we can get some of that going. So just off the top, our buddy Jules, 90% of fans think we got Johnny Bench. Stupid, ignorant MFers. You know, I like Rutschman. I just think you overpaid. So we'll see how that goes. That's an Otani Hall that looks 32 Adley. Yeah, possibly. Curtis Anthony says best trade acquisition since Sale or Beckett. Eovaldi and Pierce don't count. If you sign them, but if you're going to have them for 1 year, I think it's an overpay, and I wouldn't do that. Rutschman's a generational talent. I worry that he's just injured too much, and his last couple of years haven't been as good as his first few years. But I mean, I don't know if I go generational. Do you guys go generational on that, or you just think he's? Yeah,
he's good. He's good, but he's not a generational talent. No thanks.
He came up as a generational talent, and obviously hasn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't lived up to that stature, but he's still.
That's what Baltimore is parted with him.
Arguably, you could maybe.
I mean,
name
the Orioles let him go.
Take over him in baseball.
I mean, the Orioles let him go for a lot of unknowns, but still a big package. So
huge.
John, what was your question that you just said about baseball with him?
I'd say he's not the generational talent that coming up into the big leagues we thought he would be, but I don't know if you can name 5 other catchers that you take over him in the big leagues right now.
No, I don't think I could. No.
Langoliers, Hunter Goodman.
He says he ain't on the IL last I looked. He's day to day, right?
He's on the IL, but it's going to be a rehab.
That was a joke.
I think the Orioles were talking about next week.
Okay. That was a comment Jules and I were going back about Johnny Bench, and I said, come on, he's better than Johnny Bench. Johnny Bench is 80 and has got arthritis.
Jules says he was on the All-Star game this year. But I mean, how many Orioles really had an opportunity to be on it? Just because they're on the All-Star game doesn't necessarily mean they were phenomenal, but you gotta choose somebody from every team. So Mayer had to go and we needed a lefty. Don't overthink it. No, he had to go. You know, I'm not overthinking it. I'm just saying he had to go. You cannot have Roman Anthony and this kid on the same team. Not when they're going and screwing around in Boston all year.
I said this comparison probably a month ago, and it's very similar to how Tyler Seguin was here with the Bruins. Very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows which wife he slept with? So,
yeah, no, exactly. So, Jules says Eli, what? That's what I'm saying. If Miller is legit, Eric Miller looks pretty good, right? There. A lot of people are saying he's. I don't follow the Giants too much. What's the deal with him? Is he
throws hard, but he doesn't know where it's going?
Okay, so we have Craig Kimbrell all over again.
He likes to flip people off too. So him and Duran and Contreras will be buddies.
Oh, so he's a knucklehead.
He's a little bit of a loose cannon. Yes, he is. Yeah.
So we got a left-handed Craig Kimbrell on our hands.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
I would agree on that right now.
He's 6'5". He's 270 pounds. He has good extension.
Oh, Jesus.
Nobody gets the ball in the
Thanks,
air
Beth,
off of
yeah.
him. Nobody gets the ball in the air off of him. Everybody whiffs against him. Everybody strikes out against him. Nobody
What's
hits the
his
ball
K
hard
what-
against him.
What's his K per 9?
K per 9 is he's striking out guys at 31.7% of batters. Let me find K per 9. I have the
strikes
wrong
out
page
12
up.
and walks 6 per 9.
Okay,
So
so
he-
you,
walks are
strikes
the
out
only
back-
thing.
you tell me
Outside
he's
of the
vi-
walks, it's
so you tell me he's
guys
vintage
don't chase
Chapman?
on him either, but
He's vintage Chapman then. Okay.
Did
No,
you have
do
my
we have,
joke?
do we have a K per 9 on him? You got it, John?
it is.
You look that up and look up Chapman's K per 9 too, because I'm curious how they fare together.
Miller
Rutschman
is so good that he strikes out Rafi Devers. I'm just putting it that way.
so does most people. Rutschman is a vast improvement over Wong and Narvi. There's no question. There's absolutely no question he is. I just worry about the term. Tyler Stevenson. Uncle Ted says for Adley Rutschman, F them prospects. Totally agree. We don't know what prospects are going to be. They're made to be traded. I just worry about the term. Uncle Ted also says, I think the White Sox were trading with the Orioles for Rutschman, and the Red Sox swooped in and stole Adley.
I didn't hear
don't
anything
know.
about the White Sox.
I haven't heard anything about that either. Don't they have Kyle Teal? Is he on the shelf again?
Yeah. He might have had something
He's hurt again.
come up, but yeah, I think he is
Narvi
hurt,
was
but
everyone's darling last year, laughing my ass off. You know
He
what?
performed.
He had a good year, but he was exposed. He got exposed to the fact that he could not be an everyday catcher, and he was relied upon to be that again this year, and it just didn't happen. I also wonder, too, do you guys think – I know there was some issues going on with Cora. Remember he was benched and stuff like that. Is there something going on in that clubhouse that made him expendable as well? Do you guys think anything to that?
I don't know. Maybe in the clubhouse, but I think a lot of it maybe it leaked into the clubhouse, but I think there was a lot of off the field stuff
Personal
that
stuff.
He did
Yeah, that
something
just-
with somebody's wife. I'm just putting it that way.
Navarez?
Yes.
allegedly, yeah.
Maybe that's why Breslow let him go.
Yeah, but who, it's.
Did
I
you
just
find
think
the
that
Keeper
his
nine?
head just wasn't in the
I
right
don't
place
think
this
they
year.
wanted
maybe.
open season anymore.
Gotcha.
But Chapman this year's got a 1195 K per 9. Eric Miller's at a 1240, which is
Wow.
0.07 points lower than Chapman's K per 9 was last year.
So what do you suggest, John, is going to be the back end of this bullpen during a 1, 2, or 3 run lead? What do you see as your 7, 8, 9 or 6, 7, 8, 9? How is this going to fare out on a normal day?
I think that with the addition of Eric Miller, you have the versatility now to kind of mix and match these guys. One day you could go, say, the regular Slayton, Whitlock to Chapman. Another day you could go Miller to Tyron Guerrero to Whitlock. Another day you could, you just adding another high leverage arm. It doesn't have to be the same concrete. Here is what, we all know what's coming. And now with lineups.
So it's not going to be a textbook thing. Like it's the
Yeah.
7th, it's Slayton, it's the 8th, it's Whitlock, it's the 9th, it's Chapman. You're going to see interchanging parts, maybe based on the opponent.
Yeah. What's coming up in the lineup, left-handed, right-handed. I just think that they have just a lot more flexibility now to attack lineups in games. Like their game plan, just the playbook opens up a lot more with Eric Miller in this bullpen. And it's a bullpen that already has the lowest ERA in baseball, and it just got a ton better.
Nick, what do you see playing out with the back end of that bullpen?
Well, let's look at last night. We knew that the Red Sox probably wanted to shy away from a Whitlock or a Chapman or something like that. We saw Slayton, but then We saw Moran come in the 8th, and I'm not sold on Moran by any means. I don't want him in high leverage situations. I think we've walked the tightrope a little too far with him. And I think now with having Miller there, you can slot maybe Moran back to a 5 or 6 inning guy where Weissert should be as well too. So I think this also spells the end for Ryan Watson. So
yeah, that
Ryan
was my
Watson can be
that was
gone. And then basically in the Watson role becomes Moran. So
is he on the
or Weissert.
Is Watson up with the major league club right now?
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah, he's the last guy in the bullpen.
Yeah. Thayer, what about your back into the bullpen? What do you see? What's your opinion on that?
I think it's been what it is. They aren't going to change too much. Whitlock and Chapman are going to be 8, 9, and then they'll just figure out how they work the 7th. I don't know if they're going to trust Miller to throw strikes enough to do it. They'll probably just sort of stay with Slayton with what they have, and then probably work Weissert in there. But if they can teach Miller to throw some strikes, he'll be there. Just a little addendum to the trade deadline. The Yankees have already paid dividends. Luis Garcia just hit a 2-run home run to take the lead for the Yankees.
Oh, he was in uniform already.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, that was quick. Who did they who did they activate or deactivate for him?
I don't know.
Okay, just curious. I think pretty much I'm in agreement with all you guys, give or take a little bit. I think it will be one of those things where obviously Chapman's your number 9 guy unless he's not available after 2 or 3. Then you could go with one of these other guys. But I think what I'm hoping for is to remove guys like Greg Weissert from a high leverage situation.
Yes.
I don't want him coming in with runners on base. I don't want him coming in the 8th or 9th inning. I don't want him coming in the 7th inning. I don't want him coming in with a lead. I don't want him coming in with a tie game. I don't want him coming in. That's really where I'm at.
The other question before we wrap the bullpen is, I'm curious what they do with Brayan Bello. I really am, with what we've seen lately with his bulk role, and he's flourished in that. I would imagine they're probably going to piggyback Patrick Sandoval with him to give a kind of a 1-2 punch on a every 5-day kind of thing. But I am curious to see the bounce back though for Bello and how quickly he could come back and throw again after going, multiple innings.
I'm wondering if, to your point, whether that is also going to be something that you're going to see with the innings load with a lot of these guys. I mean, Sonny Gray hasn't looked as good as he did in the first half. Peyton Tolley is going to start hitting an innings load. Jake Bennett as well. Do you think it's possible that you might start seeing some 3-inning or 4-inning stints from some of these guys, and then Bello comes in, inning 5, 6, 7, and then you go to that massive bullpen?
I do. Yep, I could see that. I think they're probably going to start to do that with Tolley right now. I wouldn't be surprised in the next start or two to see that. No matter what the score is, no matter what the situation is, we're all going to be mad about it. So let's make sure we identify that right away, because it's not going to be something that will be, oh, crap, he was throwing great. Now we have to deal with Bello, and then probably Bello will shut us up and be fine. But it's still going to be that annoyance factor where the outing might be good enough to be a win, and it won't be a win for a Tolley or a Bennett or something like that.
Back to comments to finish this up. Padres are the smallest market in the Dodgers division with no TV deals, winning 90 games. Preller is a baller. AJ Preller just doesn't stop. That guy is he'll trade himself if he feels he can get a better version of him. Anthony says, I'll take Wang Chung. Everybody has to Wang Chung tonight. Story is a monster too. I don't know what that means. I mean,
oh boy,
monster about getting out of here and about to rehab. Could care less. I stand with Wang Chung. Everybody should Wang Chung tonight. How's Mead working out? Not too well. Not too well. We'll see how it goes. Should have gotten Luis Garcia. Well, it didn't happen. I mean, shush, chill. Okay, thank you very much. Arias is number 1 prospect in the minors. I I mean, the Red Sox, he's the number one prospect with the Red Sox. I don't know about all the minor
Uncle
leagues.
Ted needs to go to bed.
Red Sox taught Chapman how to pitch. Okay. I don't know about that. Chapman was pretty talented before he got here. He had some
They taught him how to locate.
Yeah, he had some strike zone issues for sure. We got the
exactly
best
what I
catcher
said
in
too,
baseball.
Uncle Ted.
Yeah, we got the best catcher in baseball. I think you can make a strong argument for it. I just, when he's available. Not Eli Rogers. Yeah, well, you know what? We all make mistakes. I'm sure you'd
F you.
No, I'm sure, Mike, you make more than pretty much anybody here. But
Yeah,
thanks for watching anyway. I'm only teasing you.
You should be happy I didn't call him Eli Manning. Like, shut up.
We could have done that. Still need a shortstop, but pretty thrilled overall. Matt, longtime watcher and listener. I mean, Nick brought this up on our last show. Mona, I can't do that. Dolby Stereo, Monasterio. He's been okay.
Mona Lisa.
His bat needs to be in the lineup right now. That's
Yes,
the problem. That's the bottom line. So glad Narvaez is gone. What a situation for this kid. Here he's a rookie last year, gets traded from the Yankees, supposedly was going to be your backup catcher, winds up becoming your number one catcher. People are calling him the captain, and now he's gone. Now he's gone. So I don't know. Jules says,
Lock
Jim,
your
your
doors,
critics have the
ladies.
attention span of a 10-year-old because they're 10-year-olds with 20, 20, which is the same thing. Yeah, I mean, most of those critics probably don't even have a driver's license, to be honest with you, Jules. So thanks for that. Anthony says, you can't be serious. He'd rather have had the bomb from Colorado over Adley Rutschman. I don't know. What worried me about Goodman was, and I don't know what his career splits are. I think they're a little bit better this year, John, right? But
He has better splits on the road than at Coors in his career.
Yeah,
but the strikeouts, no matter where he's playing, it's not pretty.
I just worry about anybody coming from that team outside of, I don't know, Troy Tulowitzki maybe, and
even Tulowitzki wasn't very good after he left. Granted,
he was older. Jimenez,
Goldschmidt. Who else? Who was back?
Arenado's really the only one that's
Vinny Castilla, guys.
Vinny Castilla.
Yeah.
Dante Bichette.
Larry Walker.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you might get a unicorn here or there.
Who was the guy?
Mike
Hampton. Remember Mike Hampton?
Yeah, that was a big contract he signed with the Mets, huh?
Yeah. Yep.
Ty says, so your bad grad is based on your speculation the package couldn't have gotten more. You could have. I don't know. I mean, I guess what really would have to be is someone like Bradford or somebody comes out and says to us that this was an offer on the table and Breslow said no, or some team said this one's available and Breslow said he wasn't interested. Other than that, what happened, John?
Nathan Church 3-run homer.
Matt says, why is Story and Duran still on the team? Doesn't make sense. I don't even know where Duran's going to play if you have White here. So LA stands for lost again.
White's a really weird one because he has no options.
I know.
I have to assume, Nick, I think that you were talking about it earlier in our chat, but they had to have been working or thinking that something else was going to get done.
Yeah, it was a prep move for something else. Absolutely.
I mean,
it was the Joe Ryan situation, except this was money related. I'm telling you guys, that's what was going down. Yeah. The Padres really wanted Jarren Duran. That's why we heard the reports coming out in the past couple of days that said teams are interested in Duran. The Red Sox would trade Duran. Yep. We heard those reports. Those are confirmed.
And I think you're absolutely right, Nick. I think it's sort of the Joe Ryan situation where the fact that Rutschman took so long. And because we heard about that before noon, that the Rutschman deal was going to be done. And then it just kept waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. And then you started hearing, these guys, they're looking at this, they're looking at that. I just don't think Breslow was capable of working multiple deals at one time, sort of having
either.
These other where he could have absolutely been doing these different. It felt like the Eli White sort of trade felt like that's what he was doing. He's like, all right, I got this in order. I need to get this. I'm going to set this up. I'm going to do this. And then
And the other part
everything else fell apart.
The other part is that catcher from the Miami Marlins. When he went off the books, he went to Tampa, right?
Yeah.
Now you're like, oh my God, we're running out of options here because he probably could have been a fallback plan. Anthony
probably failed in elementary school those time pop quiz tests and probably could only answer one and then fail the rest.
Just moving on. Anthony says, how many times are we going to fall for the Colorado trick? When are people going to learn? I don't fall for it. That's for sure. He's not a good defensive player. You could hit 30 home runs in Denver. I probably could. So could the rest of us. I still worry. Yeah, he would have been okay, but if he's going to be a primary catcher and for a long term, that's fine. But if he's going to turn into a DH, I wouldn't want that either. Goodman's a legit. Thayer says Goodman's a legit bat on the road. The actual issue for me is he isn't going to stick at catcher very long. I think that's another good point. That's the issue, because if you're going to give up a big haul for him, and the rumors were Colorado was asking for the moon, then you're going to wind up, and if he winds up becoming a DH, we've got.
They wanted more than the package that the Orioles got for Adley.
Yeah. Eventually, you learn about altitude. Absolutely. That's part of it. I don't know how many home runs does he have on the road this year versus at home?
I'll get that for you right now.
I know you said his splits were pretty good. Is his OPS better on the road? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Give me 1 second.
I feel like they could have done better today. The outfield situation is still very iffy. Absolutely, Matt. There's no question. Sox outfield is loaded. Absolutely is. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, so Goodman, 50 games at home, 52 games on the road. It's 243, 316, 535 slash line for an 851 OPS at Coors. 273, 341, 581 slash line, 922 OPS on the road. 15 home runs at Coors, which I think he had a 3 home run game at Coors over the weekend, and then 18 home runs on the road. So it's one that you could totally see being, a viable bat for an extended period of time outside of Coors. But again, as what was his name in here talking about it, Kurdish meat enthusiast, the defense behind the plate isn't something that's gonna. He's not going to be playing catcher in 4 or 5 years, and Adley Rutschman is. So that's where I think that the Red Sox were fine, doing this package for Rutschman as opposed to Goodman. And I think that, and again, as we all know, the Rockies wanted way more. So
Anthony says Red Sox are the favorite in the AL, and that's without Anthony and Garrett Crochet. Do you think they're the favorites now, or do you think it's still? What do you guys think? Do you think we're the favorites now? I don't know if I'd go that far. Still 5 games out.
I don't think we have a favorite. No,
the Yankees bullpen is really iffy, and the Rays made some nice moves, but they're just not there. The pitching for the Red Sox is something we have never had like this before, and it puts us over the top from that standpoint. And
so we're the team to beat there, in your opinion?
I think so, and that's why these moves. And I know everyone's down on Anthony. Anthony, I think, really can't. He needs to come back, and I know this injury. Who the heck knows about that? All I know is when that kid came up last year, he was in the point prior to getting hurt with that crazy oblique abdominal, where he was turning into the automatic guy. When he was coming up in clutch situations, he was getting it done. And say what you want about it, there were not many young players on that World Baseball Classic team. And they put him on that team. They didn't need to put him on that team. They put him on that team, and he played a massive, massive role. And he was hitting the ball and doing things that most of these other guys. So yes, he had issues.
Real quick there. I hate
the Red Sox screwed him.
Just to kind of move on real quick for time. John, are we the team to beat in the AL?
Yeah. I asked the question weeks ago. Who's when they went on this hot streak? Who in the AL scares you? There's nobody, and this team just got better today.
Nick, are we the team to beat in the American League?
We are right now. I still question how sustainable it is.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. the sustainability, because you are relying on your Monasterios, you're relying on your Sieglers, you're relying on your Sogards, you're relying that, Contreras is going to have a better second half than he typically does in his career. You're relying on your rotation, especially with Tolle and Bennett not having the innings load and the worry that they're going to break down a little bit. Suarez.
The biggest question to me out of all of that was mentioned, I'm not concerned on any of those things that you mentioned. My number one concern on why the Red Sox break down in the second half, what we have seen from just the past seasons alone, the amount of bullets that these guys have in the bullpen. It scares the living bejesus out of me.
I understand that, but in the past, you've had more guys in the field that were everyday players, and you're not having that right now, and that scares me. Moving right along, last move we made was Schwarber. Brej gets a D for the deadline. That's even a worse grade than I have, Jules. You're pretty tough. Mayor will have fun with Raffy. I mean, I guess it's kind of funny that the two of them are together.
It's where you go to die.
Yep.
The Giants.
I know. No better till he plays. Andrew says he disagrees. Mona's a beast. I don't know about that, but he's been okay. Just bring up Arias. That's what they need to do at shortstop. I'm wondering if that's Nick. You said that in our chat. I
right now.
I worry. I don't want to see them put any kind of pressure on that kid.
Make him make it uncomfortable. That's what I want. Make him prove it in Worcester, and then make it where you have to put him up.
Yeah. Anthony says, I'm sorry for saying this. You can make fun of me all you want, but Trevor Story is, when he's healthy, he's a solid player. Anthony, I got to disagree with you. You and I've talked many times. I have never been.
This is Anthony from the Cape.
Yeah.
Anthony, come on.
He's never been a solid player outside of Coors Field. He hasn't. He had one good year in 5 years last year, and I don't know. I don't want him back. He strikes out. He strikes out way too much. He doesn't put the ball in play. I just can't do it with him. I'm sorry. I mean, the fact that they added Adley Rutschman and still have Arias and Roman Anthony and Tolle and Bennett, that's a huge win. No, I'll agree with that. I'll agree with that. We'll have to see how it goes. C was in the hole for the lineup. Matt says don't get the Rogers edition. I don't either. I don't know. Why do we need him? Why do we need another catcher? I don't know how that works in. Ty said, exceptionally condescending of you while being plainly wrong. More home runs on the road this year and last. I'm not sure where he's getting at with that, but that's okay. We're not condescending anybody. Cheng made the plays. He did. I liked him at shortstop. We'll have to see. Jules says, put Mona at second base. I don't know.
He'd be better there than shortstop. So.
Well, you also have Sogard, Siegler.
Mona should be platooning at second base. That's why they needed a shortstop. If they had gotten a shortstop, Mona platoons at second base.
Yeah.
Anthony says C.J. Abrams blows at shortstop. He does, but the bat would make up for it more than his defense would kill you. Meade will eventually be a second baseman. We'll have to see if he's going to show up. Facts. I think so. Jules says he gave away 3 starting pitchers who were part of our future. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out, but if he keeps raking in AAA, it does. I don't know. You got 8 weeks left of the season? Are you going to really bring him up into that situation? Maybe a September call-up, but I don't think so. That's from one.
Could he be like a 2013 Bogaerts, like 27th man type of ordeal?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
but you don't do that for a shortstop. You don't put the kid at shortstop. Bogaerts came up and was playing third base.
Yeah,
you're not putting him in that position.
Yeah. ASP Gringo says Weiler needs to hit 5th. Yeah, I mean, if you have Rutschman 3rd, Contreras 4th, Abreu 5th, I think that's okay. Romy Dahomey and Worcester. Yeah, what are we doing with Romy Gonzalez now? We're talking about Monasterio at 2nd. You got Meade possibly. I wonder what's going to happen with Romy. I think he should be DFA, to be honest with you. Goodman sucks. I don't know if he sucks, But he's not. Look at Cal Raleigh. Look at what a downfall that guy's had. We're not playing fantasy baseball here, guys. We're playing real baseball. Absolutely right. And if it's not fair to say we have the best bullpen in baseball, I mean that matters, guys, for winning championships. It does. I mean, Nick, do you think we have the best bullpen in baseball right now?
We do. Mm-hmm.
John?
Yeah, I said it earlier. Absolutely.
They're best bullpen in baseball?
Absolutely. Not the Yankees. Their bullpen just gave up a third home run to Burleson. They gave up 7 runs in the 8th.
Blow a 6-run lead and you're still losing by 6.
That's awesome. This is where it starts to get fun, guys, because you start watching the standings. You start watching the teams in front of you. You start, more Yankee losses, more Tampa Bay losses. That's what's fun. Jules says Teal's on the IL. Again? What's that, the third time? If catcher interference is not knowing the rules of baseball or positive skills, Carlos Narvaez will be a Hall of Famer. You got a good point there, Anthony. How many catchers interference did he have in his career here as a Red Sox? 16? It's something stupid.
It was he led the league with 6 last year, and he had 2 this year.
That's all. I thought it was much more than 2.
Yeah.
Probably could use a starting pitcher. There was talk of I had tweeted this out too. There was some rumors I was hearing about what's his face from Seattle.
Logan
Kirby.
George Kirby. Kirby.
Yep. I was wondering if something like that was going to come down.
But again, it was the inability of Breslow to manage multiple discussions at once.
Anybody know, is Crochet officially done for the season?
No, he's not done for the season, but he still has, if you sort of start doing out the math, unless he picks up a baseball and starts really throwing with aggression, you're not going to see too much of him until probably the end of September, beginning.
Yeah. Bello has seemed to find his niche as a long reliever. I think it's true. Whatever is in his head, it's working. Started at first, Rice at DH. Okay, I think he's talking about the Yankee game. I'm not quite sure. Max Sherman outrighted the minors from New York. Okay, so that's who went down. Schumann. They're having all kinds of problems, the Yankees. I mean, Spencer Jones has been a bust.
They can't survive without Aaron Judge. They can't.
No.
They can't survive.
Is Spencer Jones a bust or what? That guy's as big as Aaron Judge, and he stinks, doesn't he?
I don't pay much attention to it.
Again, he's still young. It takes a while for things, to really get rolling. We can't expect these guys to come out and be world beaters their first years.
No, I know. I don't know.
He hits the ball really hard, and then when he doesn't hit the ball really hard, he's swinging at air really hard.
So does Rob Deere. So Sox also got Carlos Gutierrez. John, you know anything about him or?
I saw a quick little 30-second video on him after the deal was done, and it seems like it's another one of those. The Red Sox like the batted ball profile, contact first guy, can play defense, a little bit of speed, and they think that in their development program they could add that bat speed that will lead to more power.
And we can trade him to the Dodgers for somebody who's garbage, and he'll become an all-star.
I'm sure probably the Dodgers
Here's some information on him. 24th ranked prospect in the Giants system. He spent this season in high A. In 83 games, he's had 357 plate appearances with a 271 batting average, 9 homers, 18 doubles, and a 124 WRC. That's the information I've got.
What's his OPS?
It is a 826.
And he's in high A?
High A.
All right, well, maybe there's something there. We'll see.
It's a flyer.
Yeah, it certainly is. It's a lottery ticket. Kirby and Hancock. Yeah, Hancock was the other name to that. Thanks, Jules. I pray for a second half Yankees collapse by Michael. Yeah. Let's hope for it. I mean, you're in it right now, I think, for the most part. Let's hope it continues. And we'll see. And then Nikita says, I think the Red Sox could go past the Yankees. What grade would you give the Red Sox in the trades today? I gave him a C- earlier in the show. We talked about that. I know you just hopped on, Nikita. Thanks for joining us. I gave him a C-. You have to listen to the rest of the show to get the other grades. But any closing thoughts for tonight, guys? That anything we didn't mention or something that you want to really push home on? Go ahead, Nick.
Out of all the rumors that we heard with the Red Sox being engaged, whether it was with the Rangers with Eovaldi, the Royals with Wacha, the Padres with Bogaerts and everything. My question to you guys here is, out of all of that, is there any one of those guys that were from our past you would want back on this team and you think could make a real impact? Jim, what do you think?
Nick, I'm sorry. I was just doing something on the broadcast here. Just repeat the question for me. I apologize.
So out of the rumors that we heard that the Red Sox were engaged with teams like the Rangers, the Padres, and the Royals, the Rangers being with Nate Eovaldi, the Padres being with Xander Bogaerts, and then the Royals being with Michael Wacha. Out of any of those rumors and everything that we heard, is there any one of those particular guys from our past do you think that the Red Sox should have dealt for and could have made an impact on this team?
Nathan Eovaldi, without even blinking. And part of the reason why, I know Wacha had a good season, but Nate Eovaldi showed that he can pitch in the playoffs, and he's also a guy that he's good in the high moment, very good high leverage type guy.
Thayer.
Bogaerts. I think from a standpoint of just the leadership that he would have provided, he would have stabilized shortstop. He wouldn't have needed to hit, but at the same time, it almost, he doesn't need to be the power Bogaerts. He can sort of go back to just spraying the ball around the field. Jim, I understand what you're saying about Eovaldi. He's kind of losing it a little bit. And from that standpoint, I don't think either Wacha or Eovaldi, whatever pitcher they got, would have been like a fourth or fifth kind of guy, and I think his impact wouldn't have been the same.
John, leaves you.
I was going to say Eovaldi, and then Thayer just brought up a ton of good points. And I think for this team right now, I think Xander Bogaerts actually would make the biggest impact on winning baseball games with this current roster.
Nick, did you answer your own question?
My choice, no, I did not. My choice would have been Xander. I think the leadership and identity factor for what this team could have used and to rejuvenate and revitalize Xander's career. San Diego has been a disaster for him. Coming back here, I think, could have propelled him into the player that he was back in Boston. I really do. I'll hold firm to that.
It's possible a trade like that could be seen during the offseason. Again, it's very hard to see any kind of major blockbusters done during the trade deadline because there's so many moving parts, so many different things, and it's a limited amount of time that you can really, interact with other GMs and get things done. You have a lot of time during the winter to get those things done. So, you can never say never, but we'll see how it goes. But that is going to wrap it up for tonight. I'd like to thank Nick, Thayer, and John for being on with us tonight. And if you haven't gone to our website yet and signed up for our daily articles and newsletters, please go to RedSoxDigest.com, RedSoxDigest.com. We'll have daily articles, rants, and ravings of all the games that are played by the Red Sox, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And that's in your inbox on a daily basis. John, go ahead. You got something good?
Yeah, just 368 days ago, July 31st, 2025, on the deadline, Craig Breslow waited until 5:55 to start making moves. This year, he did the exact opposite. Fuck them prospects. Go Red Sox. We got a couple more weeks of baseball to play. Let's go.
I didn't know Quincy was joining us tonight.
Let's just hope that this deadline was done with the right intentions and not just to save his job. That's all I got left. That'll do it. We will see you. What's today? Today's Monday, right? Who are we playing next? I know we didn't do probables.
The White Sox.
Time. We're playing the White Sox in 3. Yep. That's what, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yes.
All right. What time is the Thursday game?
7.
That's rare.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a Thursday night. We'll have to see how long it takes and it ends. But other than that, if not, we'll see you when we see you. Have a good night, everybody.